Looking to diversify your business portfolio with a high-growth opportunity? Discover Mathnasium Learning Centers, the #1 math-only education franchise. For more than 20 years, Mathnasium has triumphed in a booming multi-billion-dollar tutoring industry with over 1,200 centers worldwide. Ranked on Entrepreneur's Franchise 500 list for 11 consecutive years, Mathnasium is low-cost, recession-resistant, and offers significant growth potential in an expanding market. The demand for math education is skyrocketing, driven by declining math scores and the growing need for STEM skills in today's workforce. What makes Mathnasium a smart investment? Affordable entry point and quick build-out time. High-earning centers with 7-figure annual revenue, industry-leading 30% plus average profit margins, and it's a trusted brand with high consumer satisfaction scores. And here's something extra. They're offering a 25% discount on the franchise fee for former teachers and veterans. So whether you're expanding your franchise portfolio or making your first investment, Mathnasium gives you the systems and support you need to succeed. Get your free franchise information kit at mathnasiumfranchise.com or call 888-763-2604. That's mathnasiumfranchise.com or call 888-763-2604. As we've seen on this show, all kinds of people can find success. Did you know that 34% of tech professionals don't have a bachelor's degree? Skills-first hiring isn't just inclusive, it is the smart strategy to expand your tech talent pipeline. And finding the right tech talent isn't just hard, it's mission critical. And yet many enterprise employers still rely on outdated methods or platforms that just don't deliver. In today's market, hiring tech professionals isn't just about filling roles, it's about outpacing competitors. But with niche skills, hybrid preferences, and high salary expectations, it's never been more challenging to cut through the noise and connect with the right people. And that's where Indeed comes in. Indeed isn't just a job board, it is your tech hiring partner. As the #1 site where tech talent applies to jobs, Indeed gives you direct access to over 3 million U.S. tech professionals, 86% of whom have applied through the platform. So post your first job and get $75 off at Indeed.com/tech talent. That's Indeed.com/tech talent to claim this offer. Indeed, built for what's now and what's next in tech hiring. Hello and welcome to another snack-size edition of our show, How Success Happens. I'm Dan Bova, writer and editor at Entrepreneur.com. And as we wind down 2025 and start to look ahead to 2026 and all the resolutions we'll make and quickly break, I thought it'd be a good time to listen back to a conversation I had with Alexis Ohanian back in 2021. Now, Alexis, as I'm sure you know, is the co-founder of Reddit, and he really puts his time and attention into things he truly cares about at this point in his career, like his 776 Foundation, which supports marginalized individuals, and recently announced a $20 million commitment to climate action. Also of note about Alexis, he is married to the greatest tennis player of all time. Now, I thought of him because when we spoke, he was part of this program with Stella Artois that was aimed at helping work-obsessed people, I'm looking in your direction, invest their time in themselves and their overall happiness instead of just grinding away. He had a lot to say on the subject, and I thought it's just a really good mindset to be in for the new year, besides wanting to lose 15 pounds or whatever, because who needs to lose weight anyway? I certainly don't. Okay, anyway, so here is Alexis on the importance of taking a break every once in a while and why that's going to pay off in dividends.
I would love a big part of my legacy to be around advocating for greatness at work, no doubt, but with a healthy appreciation for, maybe balance isn't the right word, but a healthy appreciation for the fact that the way that we get to do great work is because we're investing our time in ourselves, in our loved ones, in our friends as well. I know I made mistakes in my early years of my career by glorifying hard work and long hours to the extent it was just not healthy for me. And where, there's some serious diminishing marginal returns as you put in those extra hours of overwork. And yeah, it happens from time to time because there are deadlines with big projects, but trying to do it for a sustained period of time, especially as an entrepreneur where you're everything on the line, but, after a certain number of hours of not reinvesting in yourself and reinvigorating yourself, you're doing worse and worse quality work. And you're also losing touch with the things that really, really matter, the new perspectives, the re-energizing nature of just, being able to balance and prioritize making memories with the people who really matter. And I think I've gotten a lot better in the last, let's say, 10 years. I'd give myself like a B+, maybe an A-
Okay.
for me. But I would argue, the last 10 years of my career have been even more productive and effective than the first. And I think finding that balance has been great.
Hard to argue with any of that, but also it's kind of sometimes hard to do or recognize that we do need this break. So I asked him if there was a kind of straw that broke the camel's back for him that made him realize, Alexis, you got to chill.
Yeah. Wow. There were a couple. I think the first awakening was about 10 years ago, right after my mom passed. And I realized the work that I needed to spend for the rest of my years were going to in many ways be a tribute to her and all of her investment in me. And so the work that I wanted to be doing, I wanted to be something that I knew she would be proud of, the impact that I know she would want me to have. And then, about 5 years ago, priorities reset again. Right around the time I proposed to my now wife, we'd had a conversation where she said, and this is actually pretty early in the relationship even, she said that I worked harder than her. She was like, gosh, you worked even harder than me. And at the time, I immediately was like, oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she's like, that's not a compliment. I was like, wait, what? And what she knew and what I've been learning and working on is that, and athletes know this better than anyone because their work is as mental as it is physical,
right.
That the recovery time is just as important as the time you're putting in practicing and actually at the offices. And they're also the ones playing an objective sport.
Right.
We're in industries where we make up our wins and losses all the time. We sort of have metrics, but not really. Sport is a great equalizer in that way. And so it's advice worth heeding. And so I heard this like, wow, okay. So what I'm hearing is, and what I'm actually seeing is just how well she balances that time on and that time off. Because when she's at work, she's 110% committed to that. And when she's not, she's 110% not. And it's something I've strived for because what she pointed out so well is that me working more than her was not necessarily, that's not the path to greatness. It's not as simple as just logging as many hours as you possibly can. It's about making the most of the hours that you're putting in. And yeah, look, hard work is a requisite for trying to do exceptional things. Like we all know that. And I think what we're seeing more and more entrepreneurs realize, more and more people realize, is that it can be quite self-defeating if you don't take that time to reinvest in yourself, whether it's through time spent with loved ones or self-care or what have you.
Now, as I mentioned, he is married to Serena Williams, who has won 23 Grand Slam singles titles. That makes her indisputably the best tennis player in history of Earth and tennis and the history of everything. She's good. So she must be pretty competitive too. Now, he's a guy who helped create one of the most dominant social media platforms in existence. He's a co-owner in multiple sports teams, so he's pretty competitive too. Big question to Alexis. Who's more competitive, you or your wife, Serena Williams?
Ooh, I should ask her. I think I am just as competitive, but in very different venues. Thankfully, I don't play tennis. But I do. I think, and I've actually seen it. All the conversations we've had as she's been setting up businesses of her own, like S by Serena, as well as her investing. Like I'm very happy to support and give advice and give help. I'm also still very, very competitive. And the thing for me is, I know our daughter is going to have people, total strangers, coming up to her for the rest of her life, telling her what an impact her mother made on them, on the world. And that's amazing, and rightly so. I, however, am very competitive, and I want just as many people coming up to Olympia and having the same conversation about how great her dad is and what her dad did and the legacy that had. And I know I will never match, just because of my own circumstances, I'll never be able to match Serena's impact on the world. But I'm still going to give it a good try.
All right, well, that's competitiveness, but what about what really matters, winning? I asked him if there's any sport or game or anything on earth that he feels confident that he could beat the GOAT tennis player of all time in.
Yeah, okay. Horse. If we were to play, I've got a little basketball hoop here and a I think I would dominate. And video games broadly, her forte is really like old school, like NES console type games.
Okay.
But any modern game, I would watch her. I think she could give me a run for my money with some of the classics, like Super NES, like maybe Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I think that could be competitive, but the rest I would just absolutely dominate.
Well, okay, there's your snack. Please use Alexis's wise words as we wind up this year and move into the next, to remember to stop working all the time. Stop and think a little bit. Look, I don't want to brag, but I am really good at not working all the time. It's actually my secret superpower, but don't tell anyone, especially my boss. But before you completely chill out, please subscribe, throw us a star rating, and leave our show a comment. I'd love to read it on the air. And if you want more How Success Happens goodness, please subscribe to our newsletter at info.entrepreneur.com/HSH. We're posting a weekly question there, and we'll be reading answers on the air. Please check that out. It's a lot of fun. And you can also check out my Substack, This Should Be Fun, for more silliness from me. And as always, if you're digging the sweet, sweet sounds of our theme song, please check out Nika RPM on Bandcamp. All right, see you next time. Thanks for listening.